Hey everyone, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today we're going to make a really sweet little gift box using the Most Wonderful Time product medley. So we're going to start off with a piece of old olive cardstock measuring 9.5 by 6 inches, okay? So we're going to score on the 9.5 side at 1.5 inches, 4.5, 6, and 9. Oops. And then we're going to turn it 90 degrees and we're going to score again at 1.5 and 4.5. Okay, just like that. So now we're going to trim this up a little bit. Now, sometimes people find that it's easier to cut before you have your, you fold your score lines or after. It just kind of depends on the person. So you can use either method. I do like to score my fold lines first to scold my cardstock. That way it stays. But you do want to make sure that you do use a bone folder because it makes your box really crisp. So regardless of when you do it, just make sure you do that. Okay, there we go. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my paper snips and I'm going to go ahead and just give this a little miter cut here on the end, and I'm going to remove this entire piece. So all we have on this end is just this little tab, and this basically is just going to hold our box closed. Then I'm going to grab my larger scissor and I'm going to snip down to the score line on each one. And Old Olive coordinates with this product medley. That's why I chose this. You could also use Real Red, Whisper White. I would use thick if you're going to use Whisper White. Basic Black. And you can add gold foil to decorate. Okay, so there's that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give, these just a slight trim. I'm going to go back to my smaller scissors now. So I'm just kind of giving them a little miter cut on each side. You can even trim off a little bit at the end. So same on this one. And on this side. Now, one other thing you want to do is you want to decide which is going to be your front of your box. Typically, the front will not have the seam. So, for example, this is going to be the back because this portion here will be the front, so you can't see the seam. So if you're going to end up closing this fully, this is what you're going to want to go over. So overlapping this. So you can always kind of just neaten this up just a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily trim it off, but just kind of trim just to the edge of that score line so you have a nice box closing. And then if this is going to be your top, you can kind of do the same on the bottom. Just a little bit. Trim off that end. And same with this, kind of neaten it up. And then the one that's over here, if you wanted to, you could give this a little bit better of a trim. And you could even cut a little bit of this off because it is going to be hidden. And then the same with this one. I just like to make sure that these little pieces are kind of off because I think it makes the boxes fold close a little nicer. There we go. Now, before we finish, I'm actually going to add some DSP just to decorate this. So I went ahead and trimmed out a few pieces. So these measure 3 by 3. And we're going to just lay that right on top. And doesn't really make a difference. I might trim that up just a teeny hair because it is 3 by 3. But sometimes just for the sake of having just a little bit of a border, I kind of like to take maybe like a 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch off. So I'm just going to take an 1/8 off on each side. So instead of 3 by 3, these will be 2 7/8 square. And then for the thin pieces, those are actually going to be 2 7/8 by 1 7/8. So I have to trim off. I already trimmed to the 1 7/8. I have to trim just a little teeny bit off of the length. So I'm going to take this right here. 2 7/8, and then we're going to use you could use the same side if you wanted to, but I thought it'd be fun to swap around to the candy cane stripes. There we go. All right, so then these will go on here. I'm just going to put some liquid glue. And the reason I'm putting them on now is because I find that you can really press them on a lot better when the box is flat. So again, I'm just going to put the stripes. And then this one will be the candy canes. Again, they're kind of all going different directions, so they don't really have to be specific as to which way they're facing. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some tear and tape, and I'm going to put a little strip here on this tab. This is going to hold the box closed. And then again, we did say that our this was the front of our box, so I'm going to put a little bit on here as well. So let me see, I'm going to put a little piece here, and let me just look at this one more time if this is the back. So I'm going to put on this piece here. Oops. Just like so. All right, so I'm going to do the tab first. I typically just fold this and it should line up perfectly. There we go. Okay, so these will go in. This is going to go in. There we go. So I'm going to take these, oops, off. Just trying to pull it carefully so nothing gets stuck to itself. Just like that. So I'm going to fold these two in, fold this one in, and then that's going to hold it closed. Now, you certainly don't have to have all these tabs, so if you wanted to trim some of these off, you absolutely could. Again, if you want, you can keep this so it's closed like that. You could also make it, if you ended up wanting to have a box that was open, you could just trim the top of that box off completely. So that way it would just be an open box for you. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do with it. But if you're going to make sure you want to fill your box before you close it. So we're just going to close the lid here, and since we have this adorable ribbon that comes with this bundle, I'm going to just tie this closed just like so, and then we're going to add a little bit of decoration to the front. And since this is really cute, I'm going to let this kind of hang out a little bit. I'm not going to trim it up as much as I normally would. So it's really curly and cute. There you go. So you have your little closed box there. Okay. And then we're going to add, oopsie, a little something. How about just deck the halls, because that's cute. We'll just put a little bit, put that on the front. And I haven't used the presents yet, so let's do those. We'll do the presents and then we'll add a little deck the halls. And we have some other great products that come with this too. Some really fun stickers. So we can kind of add a couple things to that. So let's do our presents. Grab a mat. So I'm going to do these in Old Olive, but I'm actually going to stamp it off once just so it's really light. So I had, let's see, I knew I had a scrap piece of paper here somewhere. There we go. So I'm going to just ink the presents up. Stamp them off, and then stamp them. Okay, so there is one, and then we have also, of course, little bows. Now those I am going to put on at full strength ink in Real Red. And since these are photopolymer, they're really nice and easy to be able to line up. Just give that a minute for the ink to transfer. Okay, there you have that. part is these also come with dies, so you can cut these out. So I'm going to run these through my die cutting machine. And then you have these 3 little presents, which are adorable. And I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add a sentiment, and I'm actually going to cut it out with this other little die that comes with it, which I think is so cute. So again, I said we were going to do Deck the Halls. Let me grab one more block. And I'm going to just stick with this in black. That way it kind of pops. I'm just using Tuxedo Memento black ink. I think my ink needs to be re-inked. And yes, it does. For some reason, I feel like this is not stamping the way I want it to. So what I'm going to do is, I haven't used this before, so I'm going to just wipe it off. Clean that off just a little, and I'm going to swap out to my other Memento. I think this one's a little bit better inked. I'm going to go down to a smaller block as well and see if that helps. There we go, much better. And I know I kind of put that so it's a little bit on a slant, but no worries. So I'm going to just use this nice little die that comes with it. Just cut that out. Okay, so there's that. Pop out fairly simply. And then we're going to just bring this together with our presents and add this to the front. Okay, so we'll put one behind. Where is? There we go. Put one up top. One in the back. Cover up my other sentiment that didn't work out. And I'm going to add this one after the fact. So I'm going to put this on dimensionals. And I actually do want to grab, I have my big dimensionals here, but I swear every time I need them, they're hiding. So I'm just going to add a couple dimensionals to this. Oops. There we go. Oops, he's still not quite dry. But super easy, just like that. You could always put this one down here at the bottom if you wanted to as well. Add a little something extra in. There you go. Really, really cute. And the cool part about this medley, in case you haven't seen it, has lots of extra stuff with it. It's got lots of stickers that you can add. There's a couple, there's some little stars, which these are really cute. So you can even, because you're going to pull those 2 back pieces out. Come on. Goodness. You can even add a few more little star decorations. It comes with all these little gold stars as well. But there's lots of little different stickers. You have also some deer, some Christmas trees. So it's really easy set to use. Here's another few candy canes. Lots of fun stuff. So this is a really simple box to make. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to get the supplies to make this creation and more, you can go to my online store, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. You can find all the measurements for this on my blog, which is rachthestamper.com. Thanks for watching.